Hey beloved, thank you for clicking my video and joining me on my corner of the interwebs. My name is Sally. If you're new here, welcome or welcome back. So we're gonna get straight into the video, right? Like the title suggests, today we're gonna talk about this thing that irritates me. Wife material. I don't know what that means. I have no idea what that means. So I asked, because me, I'm the chick for questions. Sorry for a million questions. So I asked around and I asked my male friends and colleagues and the male species, what does that mean? They're looking for a female that has a wife material. What is that? What does that mean to them? And everybody I asked had a different answer. Like it was a different opinion. Let me just call it that. It was a different opinion of what that statement means for them. Granted, because they're different men, different men, different ages, age ranges. So I want to say different tribes, etc. Right? But one thing that remained the same. There's one thing that just was a common denominator. This person, this being that they're calling wife material, has a common role in their lives that cuts across. They're the person who stays home. Well, not necessarily stays home, but they're the ones who takes care of the home, right? They're the person who takes care of the home, they're the person that takes care of him, and they're the person that takes care of the children. And by the home, I mean cooking and cleaning and all that stuff. That was always the standard. They said in different words, but that's always the standard. So I'm like, okay, so for me to be considered wife material, I have to prove somehow to my significant other or someone who is the words have gone English looking to marry me, I guess, that I have to prove to them that I am capable of being a wife. I was like, oh, so what happens to those females who don't do these things for them? And so I went down a rabbit hole to understand what that means exactly, like being a wife, what that means. Because there's so many times discussions have been had in so many forums that, and women are always told, never ever 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 give a boyfriend wife privileges. And wife privileges means don't go to your boyfriend's house and start acting like a wife. Taking care of that home is not yours. Cooking and cleaning like that home is yours, etc. But these men are saying somehow you have to prove. And I asked the question, okay, so how do we prove this to you? If us women are taught, don't be doing these things. So how do we prove how to be a wife to you? And I remember when I was growing up, my youth group at my church, we had youth retreats, right? And what used to happen in these youth retreats is we'd go to a location, usually it's in the coast. We'd go to a location and it's camping, and the leadership of the youth would divide us into groups, right? Everybody, men and women, divide us into groups, and then each group would be assigned a day or two because we usually had camping for like a week. So during the week, 5 days. During the week, you are assigned once or twice to do in terms of duties. Like if Group A is doing breakfast, Group B is washing dishes, Group C is probably cleaning the compound, etc, like that. So by the end of the week, every group has at least done something. You've done the cooking duties, you've done the cleanup duties, you've done putting up camp or putting down camp. But putting up and putting down camp was usually reserved for the men because those tents were heavy. so the men did it, right? And it was fun, in my opinion. It was fun then because group activities is fun. So in your group now you divide yourselves again. Who's gonna cook this? Who's gonna cook the starch? Who's gonna cook the beans? Who's cutting? Who's prepping? Who's all that stuff. And I discovered that scenario in itself, that scene in itself, men were able to say, "Oh, Sally's a good cook," because of how they were watching me take over the kitchen. You get what I mean? And even when it comes to service, there's just a way females serve men, whether you're in a relationship with them or not. I don't know. It's personally, I feel it's just inbuilt. Women are just, it's in us. When it comes to anything sherehe of serving people, the women will just up and do it. Okay. That was back then when I was going on a youngin, right? And then it stopped at some point where now a new set of leadership just decided, they saw a problem. And it was indeed a problem where you'd find, because we needed to go for activities outside of the camp, that would mean the group that is in charge of lunch during that time had to prepare something while we were away. And most often it didn't work out, right? So a new set of leadership decided, you know what, let's just hire a catering service, or who would be able to, and their job would be just to be in charge of food all through the week, so that everybody has time to enjoy camp. Like we don't need to set aside, oh, no person left behind, etc. You get my drift, right? And it worked, by the way, and it still does. At least, I don't know, people in my church, comment down below. Does it still work? Because I don't know. But it worked for the longest time, because now we get to enjoy each other's company and do all these activities. But here now became a problem, because after that, discussions started coming. Now when we're now youth group discussions, and we're talking about relationships and marriage and etc., and this whole thing of wife material comes up, men start complaining, women of nowadays are not homemakers and etc. And we ask them, how do you know we're not homemakers? Because I didn't come and cook for you in your house. Because back in the day, that whole lot of youth who right now are married and are like deep in marriage, like 5 years, maybe even 10 years plus in a marriage, you get, and they don't complain. They're not complaining, okay? And I'm talking about the single ones, like the single men in that age group. They should be 35 plus. They're not really complaining. There are some who are, guaranteed they are. But the complaint now is, oh, women these days don't know how to be homemakers. They don't know how to take care of their man in the house. To the point of there's even someone of how to be a wife, how wives should know what their man wants. I'm like, okay, granted, generations are coming up and people have different perceptions and etc. And stereotypes also coming up, and people are still clinging on to the old types and coming up with the new ones. Granted. But how do you know that this woman that you're eyeing is wife material? Or rather is not wife material because she doesn't cook for you, she doesn't clean your house. I'm sorry, there's people you can hire for that. These people, what's the point of this video? Why that statement irritates me so much, because I feel it just hinders a lot of progress with you trying to find who your betrothed is, for a better word. Men are now looking for independent providers, and women are just out here being independent and doing their thing and says, you go ahead. But there's also that other aspect of submission and letting him lead, because ideally we'll become selfish. That's my point. We just become selfish. And why we become selfish, I may never know. I don't know why. I don't know how we started becoming selfish. I don't know what led us to this selfish point, but it needs to stop. Men needs to stop saying, are you looking for a wife material person? There's nothing like that. Okay? God has prepared this woman for you. The Bible clearly says, he who finds, which means you're the one who's supposed to be looking, not women. Women are not supposed to be looking. The men are the ones supposed to be looking. And then when you found a good thing, because the women are the one who carries the favor. Okay? Women have already been prepared to submit to their husbands, to serve their husbands at the head of the home, because that's just their God-given gift. But it just comes naturally. But you guys have to step up and go the extra mile of finding the thing. This whole nonsense of trying to look to see if she can cook and clean, because she will come to your house and cook and clean, and you're just going to put her there pending because you want Delilah outside there. Anyway, I'd like to know what you think. Should we abolish that term wife material and maybe coin another one? Or men who watch my YouTube, hi, how are you? Thank you for clicking my video. Comment down below and please explain to me what that wife material statement means to you. And women, what do you think it means for you? Do you think the generation that's coming up right now have grabbed the concept of a relationship and are ready to be selfless and find the person that fulfills their purpose, that is God ordained and God given for them? Or just selfish brats who are just going with the flow? We'd like to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and you like my content. Subscribe if you haven't already, it really helps out my channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, stay safe, because God loves you and I love you more. See you. Bye.